Welcome back to CIA Declassified. 1970, the Cold War is literally shaking the earth. The Soviet Union is conducting underground nuclear tests, and the CIA is desperate for more precise data. Traditional seismometers are good, but they struggle to distinguish between a small nuclear pop and a minor earthquake. The agency's Directorate of Science and Technology, always looking for the unconventional edge, turns to a strange ally, the Bufo Mariner-us, or the common toad. This wasn't a joke, it was Project ST Gateway. Toads have lived on this planet for millions of years. Their survival depends on their ability to sense the slightest vibration, the footfall of a predator, the shifting of the earth before a monsoon. The CIA wondered, could these natural sensors be tuned to detect the signature of a Soviet nuke? The declassified DS&T logs describe a laboratory environment that felt more like a mad scientist's basement than a government facility. A quote from a DS&T technical memorandum number 70-112. The objective is to determine if the amphibian vestibular system, specifically the sacculus and lagina, can be utilized as a biological transducer for low-frequency seismic events. Initial tests indicate that the subject's nervous system generates distinct electrical spike in response to stimulated underground shocks. End quote. The CIA scientists performed toad wiring, implanting microelectrodes directly into the auditory nerves and the skin of the toads. These electrodes were then connected to high-gain amplifiers to record the bioelectrical signature of the toad's reaction to tremors. A quote from the project lead scientist, an internal progress report. We are essentially tapping into the toad's brain. By monitoring the neural output, we are bypassing the limitations of mechanical sensors. The toad isn't just a sensor, it's a signal processor that filters out environmental noise with a precision our current computers cannot match. End quote. To test the toad array, the agency didn't just stay in the lab. They took their wired-up amphibians to the Nevada test site. During the Hanley underground nuclear test in 1970, the CIA placed several seismic toads in specialized temperature-controlled bunkers at varying distances from ground zero. The data showed that the toad's nervous system reacted to the shock waves milliseconds before the most advanced mechanical sensors of the era. There is significant speculation that the CIA explored chemical tuning. Historians theorize that the toads were injected with specific psychoactive compounds, possibly derivatives of the agency's MK Ultra stock, to sharpen their sensitivity to specific vibration frequencies associated with plutonium-based detonations. Declassified logs from 1972 show that the agency spent over $150,000, roughly $1 million today, on an automated toad monitoring system. This involved a circular tank where a dozen toads sat on sensor pads that could detect the synchronized jumping of the animals, which occurred in the split second before a seismic wave hit it. Speculation exists regarding the swamp network. It is theorized that the CIA considered releasing instrumented toads into the wild near Soviet test sites. The speculation is that these toads would carry miniaturized solar-powered transmitters on their backs, effectively turning the Russian ecosystem into a living, breathing CIA sensor web. A quote from a DS&T feasibility study. While the biological sensor is undeniably sensitive, the signal-to-noise ratio remains a challenge. The subject often reacts to non-mission critical stimuli such as local traffic or the movement of other amphibians, requiring complex algorithmic filtering to isolate the nuclear signature. End quote. Researchers speculate that the final toad session involved an attempt at neural hardwiring. The theory suggests the CIA tried to create a hybrid, a cyborg toad, where the biological nervous system was permanently fused with a silicon chip, allowing the toad to report its findings directly to a satellite link without any external hardware. The project discovered that toads are particularly sensitive to infrasound, sound waves below the threshold of human hearing. The CIA realized that toads were hearing the nuclear tests through the earth long before the physical shock waves reached the surface. Many analysts believe the redaction 22 in the 1974 summary covers a fatality. not of a toad, but of a technician. The theory is that the high voltage amplification equipment used in the moist environment of the Toad lab caused a lethal accident that was covered up to avoid embarrassing the Directorate. There is a disturbing theory regarding metabolic suspension. Speculation suggests that the CIA attempted to cryogenically freeze the instrumented toads during transit or long-term storage, hoping to wake them up only when intelligence suggested a test was imminent. If true, this would mean the agency was experimenting with amphibian suspended animation decades before such tech was considered viable. Another quote from a 1973 DS&T memo on biological durability. The primary operational constraint is the biological lifespan and metabolic requirements of the transducer. Unlike a battery-powered sensor, the toad requires a specific humidity range and consistent nutrient intake. Failure to maintain these parameters results in immediate sensor degradation and eventual total signal loss. End quote. Some military historians speculate that Project ST Gateway had a sister program involving seismic bees. The theory posits that the CIA looked into the vibration sensitivity of insect swarms, attempting to use the collective neural network of a hive to triangulate the epicenters of underground explosions with even higher resolution than a single toad could provide. A quote from the director of DS&T program termination memo. The biological transducer program has provided invaluable insights into the limits of natural sensors. However, the maintenance and reliability of a live biological asset in a remote hostile environment make it an impractical choice for long-term deployment. End quote. The most heavily redacted section of the ST Gateway files is the, quote, Global Deployment Annex, end quote. It is 20 pages of solid black ink. There is heavy speculation that these pages detail the CIA's plan to infest specific regions of the Soviet Union with genetically modified hypersensitive toads. The speculation is that the agency planned to introduce an invasive species into the Siberian tundra that would act as a permanent self-replicating seismic alarm. Further speculation suggests that the redactions cover cross-species expansion. Some believe the CIA wasn't just using toads, but was experimenting with the seismic sensitivity of large animals, perhaps even elephants or whales, for long-distance acoustic monitoring of submarine movements. Was Project ST Gateway a success? As a deployable spy system, it was a failure. The toads were too temperamental, required too much care, and were prone to false positives whenever a truck drove by or a bird landed nearby. The project was officially mothballed in the mid-70s. However, the data gathered was a goldmine. It taught the CIA that biological systems could filter information in ways that digital sensors of the 1970s could not, leading to a new field of study, biomimicry. The Seismic Toad didn't die in vain. There were technological breakthroughs, like bio-inspired algorithms. The way the toad's brain filtered out background noise was mapped and used to create better noise reduction software for modern seismology. Sub-miniature electrodes, the tech developed to wire a toad's tiny brain, led to breakthroughs in medical neural link technology used for treating human nerve damage. Advanced infrasound monitoring. The CIA's realization of toad hearing led to the development of global infrasound sensor network that today monitors everything from nuclear test to volcanic eruptions. ST Gateway reminds us that in the world of intelligence, no idea is too strange. Sometimes the most powerful technology on Earth isn't built in a lab. It's found in the mud of a swamp, waiting for someone to listen. Next time on CIA Declassified, we leave the physical world behind for the realm of pure consciousness. We examine the Monroe Institute Agreement. Based on declassified Directorate of Science and Technology files from 1983, we explore the CIA's formal contract to study out-of-body experiences and gateway process technology. We'll look at the agency's attempt to train spies who could leave their bodies to travel into secure Soviet facilities and the terrifying hemisync audio protocols used to unlock the human mind. Join us for The Astral Spy. In the meantime, I'll see you in the archives.